Hello mga ka-journey! This is Journey in His Love. And for this episode, we have a very special guest. And by the way, we are going to talk about a very special topic. And the topic that we will talk about here is very close to my heart. Of course, since if you have not known about our testimony, you can check our pilot episodes, our podcast. It's in 4 parts. So check it out, guys. And I have shared my status that currently I am HIV positive. And this is what we are going to talk about today.
Yes. So, special ang namin ngayon, guest.
I knew about this person sa eskwelahan kasi schoolmate ko siya dati, senior namin siya. And ikaw, saan mo siya nakilala? Teacher namin siya. Yeah, so wala na pong paligay-ligay. Let's all welcome our guest, Sir Al Madale. Hello, Sir Al.
Yes,
Welcome
hello.
to Journey in His Love.
Yes, good afternoon and thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity sa lahat ng mga ka-journey who will be watching and who will be with us this afternoon, today, and tomorrow kasi mapapanood nila to anytime, right? So
Yes.
I'm very excited for this topic.
Yeah, and so currently, sir, what are you doing right now?
Well, currently I have an NGO. I established an NGO that focuses on providing mental health services in the community. And just this December, we opened our mental health wellness club. So where we can do mental health consultations, counselings. Kasi nga, there are a lot of people who are undergoing different stages sa buhay nila. And included na doon yung mga people who have struggles in their physical status sa buhay nila. Who needs counseling and support. That's why nandun tayo.
Yes.
Yeah, so before we dive into this topic, bakit nga ba? Why do we have to talk about this topic?
Kasi this topic, siguro for us na nurses, sa atin na nurses, hindi siya tabo because medical professionals tayo. But for most
I
people,
even remember ni-report ko to dati sa college.
but for most people, tabo to talk about this topic kasi there's a stigma on shame.
Okay.
And then there's discrimination for those people that are having HIV, right?
So that's our topic.
Yes.
We are going to talk about HIV/AIDS. So speaking of HIV, Sir Al, how is this relevant to you?
Well, it's very relevant to me. When I was in high school, it's my first time to hear about it. And as you said, sabi nga, it's my first time to see pictures that are weird, no? Through that seminar, nakita ko. But then, when I was in college, I've met some people who are actually had HIV status and positive sila, and that made me change my life and my thinking na because people know that I'm good in speaking and really I can like convince people. So if I can use this gift by providing correct information to the people and that made me go sa journey, and then I realized that it's just the beginning. Until that I became affiliated with one network, one organization, and I was trained as an HIV counselor.
So you also do counseling, right?
Sa mga yung nagpapatest ng HIV at saka yung HIV na.
Yeah. So basically, that's the idea there, that those who wanted to take the test before sila magpapatest, dapat talaga muna sila kina-counsel. And then, I am trained for that. But considering that I am also very inclined to mental health, I do also counseling after the testing, during the testing, and even other mental health needs. Sumusupport pa rin tayo, providing the psychosocial aspect of the person.
Nice. So right now, Sir Al, saan ka ba naka-base?
Yes, so currently now, I am based in Iligan City. Meron po kaming mental wellness or mind wellness hub. It's located in Iligan City. So you can drop in there.
Where is it located?
It's just in front of City High, Iligan City National High School, just before the overpass. There is a building there, at Andrada Building, 4th floor. Mhm.
And this is open.
Yeah, we are open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every
Mm.
Mondays to Fridays.
Nice.
I'm happy to hear na yung some of my students are doing this.
Oh,
You know,
thank you.
I'm proud of
It's quite monumental, friend.
Oo.
Uh-huh.
my age. Pero it's
Mm.
it's nice to know that
Mm.
you are in this kahit hindi ka sa hospital, because most of people just say sa hospital then you're a nurse, but there's more to it than just the hospital setting.
Yeah. Being a public health individual, the hospital is the last resort.
Should have been the
Yeah,
last.
should be the last resort. It should have been.
Yes.
But everything, having a lifestyle, good lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, it all begins at home, which is a home is
True.
part of the community. That's why I am in the community. Especially sa HIV topics, awareness, I always believe that it should be really focused also in community-based approach.
So as a health worker, since health worker tayo dito,
Yep.
we all know that we can talk about this
Yeah.
because we are nurses,
Yeah.
diba?
Mhm.
But it's actually a taboo,
Yeah.
and even up to now,
Mhm.
in many places.
Many places.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, what do you think? How can we, lift up this stigma that is still going on?
Yeah, actually, I mean, for how many years I was trained HIV counselor since 2011, 2010. For more than 10 years already, stigma is still there.
Oo
Hindi
nga.
siya madaling pag-usapan sa mga different aspeto, and even sa mga schools.
Mhm.
No, I remember na merong isang school na nag-invite sa akin, and I was told, okay, you have to talk about HIV, but you cannot show pictures of a person. Sabi ko, how can I convince them? How can I show them? Because there are a lot of yung mga kabataan ngayon are very visual. What they don't see, they don't believe.
Yes.
Mm.
Oo.
Yeah, exactly. So it was really difficult part of that advocacy, and I think that
Yung
Yeah.
para sa akin, yung hindi pwede for them to see it when they can actually see it na internet, but the wrong thing is that wrong information yung makuha nila.
exactly.
They are already in an educational community. Dapat go na kasi educational community na to, but
Mhm.
sadly that's not what's happening
Mhm.
for some areas, di ba?
Mhm.
I think they're hesitant in a lot of ways. In areas din kasi. Because older generations, and I'm not stereotyping,
Mhm.
they don't really talk about sex.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Diba?
tabo siya.
It's a taboo, and we as Filipino, it's in our culture now. We cannot even say these words,
So we
diba?
name
Parang we
something else.
cringe,
Mhm.
even up to now,
Mhm.
na nadala natin sa culture natin,
Mhm.
and it had an impact.
Mhm.
Plus ano pa, like sa ating culture, plus the Christian backgrounds for many Filipinos.
Mhm.
So, nag-add up.
Mhm.
So, the stigma, may stigma pa at may culture pa.
Mhm.
Kaya hindi na
Exactly. Stigma is so difficult. You have to fight it at the upper level and even to the lower. At all levels in the community, you really have to fight stigma. So it's as an advocate. Sometimes if I cannot win everyone, at least I can win one.
True.
That's really
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
At least you can win one.
At least that
Speaking
one
of-
will win someone else.
Speaking of stigma,
Mhm.
how does the stigma affect you
As
personally?
as an advocate.
Mhm.
Oo.
Oh, of course, no. This is the number one challenge. The stigma stands as a barrier. Ibig sabihin, it's not easy to talk to people. It's not easy to sell out. They think usually in my experience, they will invite only HIV topics or STI topics that is if just needed. Right? If just needed. I remember, there's still one, nag-organize siya kasi isa daw sa mga student nila had an STI. Where in fact, if they could have just put this as a regular, accessible information sa school nila, then hindi na kailangan yung
Prevention,
seminar na yun,
oo.
right? So, you cannot have what happened was that parang you are doing a band-aid already to the problem.
Siguro, this is happening because speaking of from an outsider view na example,
Yeah.
hindi ako nurse.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
It's because there's that fear of, if we talked about this, then we are promoting immorality and sex everywhere.
Mhm.
May ganyan eh, because sa aking background, I'm a Christian, so that's that. Parang, you could not talk about sex kasi you might be promoting sex to young people, which taboo siya and unlawful siya, immoral siya. So, akala nila, just because you advocate about the awareness of HIV, STIs, they thought that you're already selling free sex.
Exactly.
Which is the opposite, di ba?
Yeah, exactly, which is the total opposite. Because when we say about sex, there is sex outside marriage and sex within marriage. And sex within marriage is acceptable because
True.
you are faithful to your partner, diba? And then
You're
you don't
actually
engage with
advocating faithfulness.
diba? You don't engage with risky behavior. And that makes you a bit actually that makes you more safer that you have to abstain and wait until the right time. And that is something na hindi masyadong nagigets ng community.
True.
Nakakala nila, if I'm going there, I want to talk about HIV and
Tuturuan ko
you
sila
know,
ng mag-condom,
yes,
ganon. Parang ano na.
exactly.
Yeah.
Where the root cause is actually the unprotected, actually it's about the risky behavior.
Use.
I should really
True.
say it's the risky behavior kasi the behavior stems with how the person thinks, paano siya nag-iisip. So kung para sa kanya, dahil nga tabu yung topic, wala siyang ibang matanungan, yung isang tao nag-experiment na lang siya sa kanya lang.
True.
At wala siyang ibang
that's
mapag-usapan. And that's where
that's
the
more
problem
dangerous.
comes in. Yes.
They're actually protecting them if we are discussing on these topics more than preventing, especially young people, from knowing this
Exactly.
information.
So let's just not misinterpret awareness from promoting it. Diba?
Yeah, promoting free sex. Hindi
Yeah.
yun. That's not it.
Speaking of HIV, we are going to talk about the disease process. So, is there a difference pag sinabi natin HIV, AIDS? What's the difference?
Yes, of course. That's a very, very big difference. Kasi a lot of people would think, maybe may mga ka-journey natin dyan ngayon na medyo confused pa. When you say HIV, that's the virus itself. And it doesn't mean that if you have the virus, you have the AIDS.
Yeah.
The AIDS is the acquired immune deficiency syndrome, or that's the later stage kapag sobra na at hindi na natitreat, no? Sobrang dami na nung HIV virus sa katawan mo. Now, yung people die from HIV virus because of the side effect. Ganun na lang, pinaka-basic. Side effect na mga sakit. So, if you have HIV virus, mas madali kang dapuan ng TB. Kaya marami nagkakaroon ng sakit sa lungs, minsan yung TB nila sa buto, minsan TB nila sa utak. Kapag may HIV virus ka, madali kang magka-skin cancer. That's why meron ka mga pantal-pantal. Kapag may HIV virus ka, madali kang dapuan ng mga fungal, even sa lalamunan mo, no? And all other forms. Ibig sabihin, kapag may HIV virus ka, wala ka ng police, wala ka ng military to protect your body kasi masyadong mababa yung immune system mo, kaya madali kang magkasakit. And out from the complication ng sakit na yun, you die.
And that's what it's called.
AIDS.
That's the AIDS.
Yung wala na talagang yung immune system mo, hindi na nag-work.
Suppressed na talaga siya.
So, hindi ibig sabihin na kapag positive ang tao, may HIV virus siya sa katawan niya, meron din siyang sakit na magkakaroon din siya ng iba't ibang sakit. As long as the person has undergone treatment and good lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, hindi siya magkakaroon ng mga sakit.
So, you're saying na people with HIV, it depends upon how they manage their health and how quickly they progress to AIDS. Depende talaga.
Yes. Para sa mga PLHIVs, we call them
People living with
Yes, people
HIV.
living with HIV. For them, one thing that I realize is that number one, meron silang magandang acceptance. And then acceptance, because out from that, saka na-change yung behavior.
True.
So kapag na-accept nila na kailangan nilang i-change yung behavior, saka na sila nagsisik ng care. When they seek care, that's the time they get the correct information. And the correct information doon na yung lifestyle, ano yung mga gamot na kailangan, at ano yung mga suporta na kailangan niya. And then after that, everything will follow. I've met one of the president of Positive, Pinoy Plus. Positive Philippines. Pinoy Plus, that's a organization ng mga pale HIVs here in the Philippines, no? And yeah, he's very healthy. We did even actually one social experiment. Mhm. So what we did, okay na ba kwento ko?
Sige, go
So
on.
what we did, I was with an organization. It's a volunteer organization. So, 2 PLHIV, pinasok namin sa office and then pinrocess namin siya as a volunteer na normal. Then, may mga kasama sila and everything. Hindi muna namin dinivulge sa mga kasama namin sa office. Then, on the day of the World AIDS Day, the December 1 celebration, nag-shoot kami and then saka namin in-open up sa kanila na, yung nakayakap mo, yung katabi mo, nakasabay mo pagkain, katawanan mo in one small room is actually a person living with HIV. And that changed their mindset and their perception na hindi naman makakahawa agad yung HIV. Yes. Na
Hindi naman readily transmissible siya.
Yes, exactly. Kasi doon talaga unang nagsistart yung stigma. People is scared makuha yung sakit.
So, to correct, our understanding about the transmission, paano ba talaga napapasa yung HIV virus?
Yes. So, yung HIV virus is uunahin ko na yung mga hindi, no?
Ang myth.
Yes. No. Even if magkatabi kayo, even if you hug the person, even if you stay with the person with the same house, even if you hold hands with the person, hindi siya matransmit. The HIV virus, the virus can be transmitted through bodily fluids. Through bodily fluids ng isang katawan. So, it could be, number 1, kapag ang nanay, papanganak niya, pwede makuha ng bata. Second is blood transfusion. Third is yung paggamit ng needles.
Syringes.
Na mga contaminated needles. Usually, this is very common sa mga drug addicts. Common in Cebu. Marami silang cases.
Tattoo din. Diba? Sa tattoo, yung hindi na-sterilize yung needle sa tattoo din.
Yes, of course, no? Kung very fresh pa, lalo na pag very fresh yung blood. Kasi yung ID yung tawag na injectable drug use. Diretso kasi yan from one person to another, which is very common in Italy. Yan yung problem nila sa kanilang community. Maraming mga street people using drug, kaya tumataas yung kanilang HIV.
Because they're using the same needle.
Yes, contaminated. And lastly, bodily fluids through body contact. So it could be through unprotected sex. So, sex is just the one way. Pero kapag pinag-uusapan yung HIV, doon na ma-magnify. Kasi alam mo naman yung mga tao, pag naririnig nila sex, malaking mata nila. Diba? Which is in fact, it's just one way.
Hindi lahat ng HIV or PLH they got HIV through sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Diba? Kasi yung stigma, it comes from, siguro immoral ito. Siguro this person have sex everywhere, kaya nagka-HIV ito.
Exactly.
It's not necessarily because some HIV, you can get it from other forms, hindi lang sex.
Exactly. So that's really something na very nice na malaman ng mga ka-journey that that's just the modes of transmission. And sex is just one way. It's just that maraming taong gumagawa ng mga outside the marriage, unprotected and what do you call this? Risky behavior yung tawag.
Yeah. So, let's say I've been transmitted with a virus. How do I know? How can I know na I have the virus? What are the symptoms?
Anong nararamdaman ng isang tao pag meron siyang virus sa katawan niya? Well, technically, number 1, it's asymptomatic. Hindi mo na niyan mararamdaman because the virus needs to have a window period. Magtatago mo na yan, magpaparami sa katawan mo but initially, meron siyang mga mild flu na mararamdaman. Akala niya common lang. And then after that, wala na.
Yes.
And if the person will now assume that I am okay and I am safe and I will do the things over and over again, until sa sobrang baba na ng kanyang immune system, doon na lalabas kung anong mga sintomas. Basically, it could be meron siyang lung problem or meron siyang diarrhea or fungal infection.
While you were sharing that, I remember dati, binibilang ko ilang beses ako magkaka-flu. And that's not reliable, di ba?
Exactly.
Kasi dati, tiniisip ko, pag maraming beses ako magkaka-flu in few months, i-assume ko na agad na baka positive ako or what. Hindi naman nangyari. I get flu rarely.
Mhm.
And then, I just knew na parang I do have
Because
the
you
virus.
have because
Kasi,
you have the lump.
Nagkaroon ako ng, swollen lymph
Lymph
nodes
node. Okay.
dito at the back of my neck.
Mhm.
So, dun na ako na parang na-alarm when it went on for even more than a year. Hindi
Mhm.
talaga siya nawala.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So, share ko lang. Ganun yung symptoms. How I knew
Yes.
about my
So,
status.
Yes.
For those also yung mga kilala ko na may HIV, some of them usually just have like LBM na parang pag-check sa bowel, wala namang infection, sa stool exam, wala naman.
Yeah. Mhm.
Tapos may parang okay lang sila, pero yung watery stool nila nandyan pa rin, pabalik-balik.
Mhm.
So, sometimes I told them, magpa-check ka kaya.
So, pwede din,
Pa-test. Oo, LBM
diarrhea,
lang.
ganun, LBM.
Yes. So, yeah, it depends sa tao kung ano yung mga presenting symptoms.
Usually, it's just because these are symptoms of a low immune system
Mhm.
na parang mild siya na infection. So, kaya parang generic yung
Mhm.
early symptoms ng HIV.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, speaking of symptoms, syempre, dun tayo next sa treatment.
Oh.
Diba?
Yes.
Is HIV curable?
Well, categorically speaking and frankly speaking, hindi pa yan nilalabas ng WHO that HIV can be cured.
Mhm.
Though, may mga bagong balita ngayon that there are some people claimed, but our current medications now do not cure, but they delay the multiplication of the virus sa katawan natin. The kinds of medication na tinitake ng mga tao will help them delay the progress of the virus sa katawan.
So, speaking of delay,
Mm.
are you saying na people with HIV, they will still reach a point na dadami pa rin yung virus?
If they will continue in their risky behavior and they will not live a healthy lifestyle, yes. Because, kumbaga, I don't know if you're aware, if you have the laboratory test na CD4.
CD4.
Yes, para sa iba siguro, CD4 is just a letters. But your CD4 is your military, your police, sila na yung SAF mo, sila yung number one protector sa katawan mo. They are actually part of your immune system. At sila yung unang nasisira because of the HIV virus. So kapag nauubos sila, bumababa sila, mas dumadami yung virus, mas nagkakaroon ka ng sakit. So that is why it depends talaga. Kasi may mga tao na even if mataas yung kanilang CD4, meron din silang sintomas, meron din sobrang baba na yung kanilang CD4.
Na asymptomatic pa.
Na symptomatic
Yeah.
pa. That's miracle. Parang dengue din. Minsan, kahit konti
Mababa
na lang
yung
yung platelet,
Oo,
buhay
yun
na
nga.
buhay pa rin. Oo. So it really depends sa lifestyle ng isang person. Mhm.
Because the lifestyle really affects your immune system. Kasi I remembered na kahit parang may infection na siya noon, kasi dun siya sa cough ko, yung lifestyle nila, good.
Mhm.
Kasi yung food nila, mga ganon.
It was healthy. My life was active.
Yung isa nakakilala ko, hindi healthy yung lifestyle niya.
Mhm.
When I found na early lang siya nag-risky behavior.
Mhm.
Pero I already saw symptoms na. Kasi hindi healthy yung lifestyle niya. So,
Mhm.
it really depends much on how you also take care of your body.
Yeah.
Diba?
Exactly. Mhm.
But in one way or another, if you have the virus, whether you're living a healthy lifestyle or not,
Mhm.
You need treatment.
Parehas pa din ang
Yeah.
destination, di ba? It could still lead to AIDS
Yeah.
if not treated, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Faster lang mag-progress yung unhealthy lifestyle.
Mhm.
Di ba?
Yes, exactly.
So speaking of treatment, ano ba talaga yung goal ng treatment for HIV aside from delaying the virus?
Yeah. So, when we say treatment ng HIV, no, or treating the person who have HIV virus sa katawan niya, it takes a lot of management plan. It's a holistic approach. You should not focus only on the medications itself. So number one is that the person should have a good acceptance ng kanyang sarili. And then, that magsisik talaga siya ng care. And then, mag-go siya ng testing. So usually, we go first with a screening test Then after that, if
Confirmatory.
positive ka with the screening test, you will undergo for the confirmatory test, which it's not the dito lang, no? It's really from Manila pa, who will do the actual testing ng confirmatory test mo, and that's the time you will receive. And once na confirm ka na, that's the time you get treated first with depending on your symptoms and situation, kung ano muna yung klaseng mga gamot yung ibibigay sa'yo. So they have sa medical term, meron kami mga ka-journey, meron kami mga first line and the second line. So kapag naging responsive ka sa first line, good for you.
Good for you.
Yes, kapag hindi, you have to go to the next level. So ganun din yun, parang antibiotic din. Yes.
I just like to clarify, baka na other people may be afraid to have this testing kasi pupunta pa kami sa Manila.
Yes.
Siguro it's just that the test, the specimen can be
Yes.
obtained here. It's just
Yes.
sent to
Yes,
to Manila.
pinapadala. And
Baka
yes.
hindi ako magpa-test kasi sa Manila pa lang.
Correct. And I think one thing na dapat din ma-remember ng mga ka-journey watching us is that when you do the testing, it's totally 100 million %. No, hindi lang 100%, 100 million % confidential.
Yeah.
Kasi pwedeng makulong ang taong
Yes, there's a law.
nagkakalat, na-share even wrong information. Kahit sinabi ko, ikaw Miss Mimie, that you have this maling information, pwede pa rin akong makulong. Nasa batas yan, makukulong ka. So, confidentiality is much, what do you call this, respected kapag nagpapatest ka. So, hindi talaga basta-basta.
Out of curiosity lang. Kasi perhaps some of our viewers are wondering, ako din dati, I have a very curious mind. So, pwede ba? Is it possible na nag-positive ka sa screening and then here goes confirmatory, you're negative? Can that happen?
Actually, yan yung mga scenario nung tinrain kami ng HIV kasi ganun din tanong din ako ng tanong, di ba? Sabi ko, what if positive siya tapos negative sa confirmatory? Most likely, it will not happen. Yes. It can, kung may na-change yung mali ang mga data in the labs or whatsoever, but most likely, it is a very, very, very small chance. Pero negative ka sa screening, tapos mag-positive ka ng confirmatory, most likely, yes, mangyayari pa yun. But the question is, kasi mostly sa mga nag-reach sa akin, like, paano po ako magpa-test? Kasi akala nila hospital agad. No.
Hindi ganyan.
Sa lahat po ng mga syudad, sa city health offices, they have their social hygiene clinics and they have trained HIV counselors that can do screening. At ang ginawa pa ng mga different NGOs today and the DOH is that inalaw na nila yung CBS or the community-based screening. So for example, if may lalapit sa akin, magtatanong, paano po ako magpapatest? Nahihiya po ako. Meron po tayong trained CBS and HIV counselor na pwede nyo pong i-meet na kayo lang muna. Doon ka muna niya ika-counsel, doon ka niya iti-test. Once nag-positive ka doon, saka ka na mag-forward to the doctor para ma-check up ka na and everything.
And I think meron tayong information na nandun na din yung lists ng mga lugar or hubs. We call them hubs na accessible to the public.
Yes.
If you want to get tested. Siguro i-include natin sa ating link description below.
Yes.
But Sir Al, why should we get tested? May
Oo nga.
criteria ba para magpa-test? I mean, is it important for me to get tested? Everyone ba are required to get tested?
Hello, ka-Journey. Journey in His Love would like to hear from you.
If you want to suggest topics that you want us to discuss in our podcast, feel free to contact us on our social media accounts. Let's journey together.
Even if one doubt ka, or feeling ko ano yun, ay hindi kasi please, ay kiss lang yun. Ganon. Kapag doubt ka sa person, then you should really get tested.
I mean, let's face it, sex is pleasurable. Why some religious community is my hard time sila to let people understand where do we stand on it na holy yung sex, kaya hindi natin pag-usapan.
Sex is still post-dated check. kapag mapakasal mo na siya, right?
Post na ito.
But it talks about your self-boundaries. It's talk about, socialization, getting to
True.
know the person and getting to know yourself. Pero yung iba kasi, gusto na nilang i-withdraw na hindi pa i-withdraw.
Cash
First,
advance.
i-cash advance na nila, which is very wrong. Sex kasi yung na-magnify in any relationship.
Promoted din kasi ng media yung sex na parang that's the point of a
They
relationship.
sensationalize it.
Oo.
Correct.
If you find this video helpful in your life's journey, click, share, like, and subscribe to Journey in His Love on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify.